All right, you are looking live at our 5-minute countdown, which will begin shortly. It is the Tuesday Night Spectacular with David and Chris. Week 4 in the books. We're going to review week 4. We're going to preview week 5. So stick around.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight?
Good evening. I am ready to talk some football. Thanks for joining us, Ron, in New Mexico. Good to see you here on the Facebook broadcast.
How about those Lions, Ron? What a game last night. What a game. The Miami game turned out to be nothing worth watching, really. But the Lions in Seattle gave you a show.
Yeah, I thought that was a real fun game to watch. The Lions have had trouble with Seattle the last couple of years, so it was nice to see them get a victory. And even though they gave up 29 points in the game, the defense played, I thought, really well in the first half and kind of let few things get to them in the second half. But the offense never let their foot off the pedal. I love watching David Montgomery bulldoze that one dude and just keep on going. That was an awesome play. The long pass to Jameson Williams and then the Philly special, if you will, to Jared Goff. Those were the big three plays of the game I'll always remember from that one.
Oh, yeah. I just shared it. Right here. For you guys who haven't seen that play, I can show it. You want me to show the clip?
Sure. Any chance it's got volume, or is it just a video?
I think it has volume. I'm just not sure. I think it's on Facebook.
Oh.
So we'll see what they got.
Oh, get all that crap out of the way.
Another completion, another short one, and bouncing off the tackle is Montgomery. What a catch and run! Still going. Just a thing of beauty and strength by David Montgomery.
30-plus yards.
Did another completion.
Loved it.
Yeah. That run right there was beautiful. How about this? Goff, 18 for 18.
Yeah. Goff, 18 for 18 was awesome. But, I tell you, that's the reason why David Montgomery is your number one running back. For all of the speed and the elusiveness that you can get from Jahmyr Gibbs, they're a great tandem together. But David Montgomery, ever since he was in college at Iowa State, just breaks tackles and bowls people over, and it is the stupidity of the Chicago Bears that they didn't build a good offensive line in front of them for him and their quarterback and keep him in the mix there. And Detroit sweeps in and takes them last year, and it's paying dividends for them.
Exactly. They're a great 1-2 punch. I love having both of them.
Let's get to the news of the week real quick here. And, of course, Kansas City Chiefs. Let's talk about Rashee Rice. They're trying to figure a way out of this, the best they can. It's a torn ACL. I don't know why they dicked around with the second opinions and all that other stuff. He's going to need surgery, and he's going to be out for the year. And so now they're down their number one wide receiver, their number two wide receiver, Marquise Brown. They're down number one running back, and the Chiefs just continued to next man up and win. And when it comes to, replacing those people, I just want to say that they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They signed Kareem Hunt off the street and didn't miss a beat. As soon as Carson Steele fumbled the ball for the second week in a row, he never touched the ball again. Kareem Hunt came in. He's going to be the starter going forward. Samaje Perine will continue to provide the third down back. I think they'll use Carson Steele as a fullback, which is what I think he was originally intended to be. They're going to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire back off of the non-football injury list. He's got some kind of post-traumatic stress disorder mental problem going on. But hopefully, whatever it is that's been ailing him, he'll be fine. And he's a reliable runner for them. When it comes to the receiving core, okay, you've got a rookie in Xavier Worthy. I'm absolutely certain they only planned to have Marquise Hollywood Brown for 1 year. They were going to do to him what they did to Juju Smith-Schuster. They bring him in on an affordable contract so he could show what he's got, and then he's going to leave for the bigger money. And so Worthy was drafted to be Brown's replacement. Yes, he is a rookie, and they're just going to have to treat him like a veteran if they want him to make the big plays. And he made a big play. The first 50-yard bomb Patrick Mahomes had thrown in 3 years, okay, against the Chargers team that gave them everything they could handle. Turnovers and penalties will hurt you, and they still managed to win the game, okay? As far as the Rashee Rice role, that's the role that Juju Smith-Schuster used to play. And so they've got Juju Smith-Schuster on the team. He'll revert back to the number one receiver. They'll still have Justin Watson as the third receiver, and now Mecole Hardman will be back in the rotation for the four wide receivers. He caught the game-winning touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. He's been there for all of their Super Bowl championships over the last 5 years. He's been returning the kickoffs and punts, if you will. And now, I think that job will revert to Sky Moore or, somebody else that they bring up off the practice squad. A guy a lot of people are high on, but he just hasn't had any opportunities, is Justin Ross, a former number one receiver for Clemson, who has been through the ringer as far as injuries are concerned. But I'm not worried at all. And you've got Devontae Adams is not going to be traded in the division. No chance in hell he's going to the Kansas City Chiefs. I would believe if they were going to bring somebody in that Amari Cooper, okay, is the guy that they will target because they just they reallocated all of his money into a signing bonus. And so any team that would trade for him would only have to pay the remainder of like $1.8 million for this season. And then he's going to be a free agent. And so that's probably the target for the Chiefs. Devontae Adams, everybody's been talking about it since even last year. Of course, if you watch the receiver show, he was not happy with the quarterbacks last year. He's not happy with the quarterbacks this year. Vegas is just kind of stumbling and bumbling along here. And he wants to play for a winner. They released the quarterback he wanted to play for and play with, and Derek Carr is now in New Orleans. They could use Devontae Adams in New Orleans, but they don't have any cap room. And so he's got to go to a team with cap room. The Jets, of course, would make sense, but they have good receivers there. Their problem is not, at receiver. Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, they can run the football. I think it's still offensive line giving them troubles there. And they've got a decent defense with the Jets. I don't think your Lions are going to trade for them.
I don't think so either. And
you have everybody you need on your team. Okay?
Exactly. And if you guys notice,
you can't afford the cap hit.
Well, we could afford it. We still have the cap room.
You got $20 million of cap room right now?
I believe the Lions are still up to 30, 40 mil in cap.
No, there's no fucking way.
You got
Not
remember,
not after signing Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown and signing Penei Sewell, I would be stunned.
You got to remember, Detroit hasn't spent no money on contracts, big contracts, in the last since Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's got here. The big contracts that got signed were just this year. I'll look it up though, real quick.
Go ahead. I don't know why you'd want him. I think he's a malcontent.
I don't think we will want him. But just because cap space right now for 2024, 40 mil.
How much?
40 mil. $40 million. Detroit ain't broke. We just don't give big contracts. That's what, for one, I don't think we get Adams, because if people paid attention last night, you seen Tim Patrick catch a couple passes out there.
He was great. Tim Patrick,
the
the Broncos should have never let him go. I don't know why they did.
So we got our big target. You got St. Brown. J-Mo just showed you last night that he ain't going nowhere. So I don't see where Adams would fit. If we do bring in Adams, I think that's just a statement like, hey, we're going for the Super Bowl. We don't care. We're putting it all there. If we did do it, I don't think so. I think if we trade anybody for the Raiders, we wait until they keep sucking, and then maybe Crosby comes available and Crosby gets to come home like he wants to. But that's the only people I think Detroit would break the bank and trade draft pick would to get Crosby to pair with Hutch. But Adams is available now. There's no guarantee. Crosby will come available. Yeah, 100%, Ron. Tim Patrick keeps doing what he is. And think about it, he was a late addition. So, this is week 4. He's been out there, all games. But you seen it last night where Goff was right on the same page as Tim Patrick. I'll take Crosby.
Where did you get the $40 million at? What website did you go to for that? Over the cap says $28 million.
Okay, my bad. This one said 40. Sports Illustrated has the following roster cuts and cap updated at 31 mil. So about 29, 31 mil.
As of what date, though?
September 1st, 2024.
Okay, this is as of October 1st. $28,194,000.
But either way, we would still have enough money to bring on Adams.
Yeah, but what are you going to have to trade, though? Are they going to want something now? Or are they going to want draft? He's going to be a first-round draft pick. Whoever gets him. I'd be stunned if he wasn't.
According to the sports radio here in Detroit,
Robinson's been trash, Ron, for the last 2 years.
They said on the radio tonight that supposedly it's came out the Raiders are only looking for a second-round pick for Adams.
Well, if that's the case, they're going to get a lot of suitors, depending on who's got the cap space, or if he's willing to convert some of it to, change it over, kind of like Cooper did. I think Cooper is the way to go here. When it comes to current, wide receivers that are going to be on the move. I just know that, I feel like Davante Adams is a malcontent. Yes, he may be worth it, but has he lost a step, or is it just the quality of quarterbacks that he's had over the last 2 years?
I think it's quality of quarterbacks. I also think it's heart, where his heart's at. And when you're getting physically your ass handed to you every game, like he mentioned in the receiver show. And once again, they traded the quarterback away you originally came there for. Then you stick it out. And then here we are in 2024, and it's shaping up to the same type of season you had the year prior. And I think at this point, Adams just wants out. And I think that's why I know he's been nursing the hamstring. They said he tweaked in practice, but I wouldn't doubt it if it's Adams, trying just to get out and not even play for him. I mean, can you blame him?
I got a little note here that just come across my my phone. Von Miller has been suspended 4 games by the NFL for violation of the league's I lost my page. I don't think it's a substance abuse policy. I think it's their I know it said the conduct policy.
Wow.
So that's interesting.
So it's not drug related or anything like that?
Conduct policy. That's an off the field situation there.
I wonder what the hell he did.
I don't know. I'm trying to find it again. Four games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Miller will be eligible for reinstatement on October the 28th following the Bills' Week 8 game against the Seattle Seahawks. That's courtesy of Adam Schefter.
He did what now?
Suspension stems from allegations that he assaulted his pregnant girlfriend in November of 2023 during the Bills' bye week in suburban Dallas.
Oh, he was. I did hear something about he was dealing with that.
And then Schefter also said, yeah, they're looking for a second-round pick plus additional compensation for Davante Adams. So that'll be interesting. Looks like he's going to be on the move to somewhere. We'll just have to wait and see what team that's going to be. Hi, Brandon Bigland. Thanks for joining us here on the show.
We caught Ron. Buffalo, I don't know if they have the cap room. I don't think they do. I knew they were tight on cap. But if they could find a way to free cap and get him, that wouldn't be a bad place for Adams, I wouldn't think. Buffalo has shown that they're a pretty good team. They're probably going to win their division, make the playoffs again. And the receivers they got right now are really good. They're all doing their part, more kind of like a community and playing more like a team for that offense. But if Buffalo could put in Adams in there, and with all those speedy receivers they do have now, Buffalo would be a serious threat, I think, with Adams, and they would get better production out of him than they did with Diggs with less distraction.
I don't think wide receiver is the problem in Pittsburgh. It's quarterback that's the problem in Pittsburgh.
And somehow they're still winning. Give it up to Justin Fields. I know they lost their first game this weekend, I believe, right?
Yep, and we're going to review that. So, you got any other news and notes?
Oh no. Speaking of Von Miller, I was going to bring up. He shared a funny meme on his Instagram or Facebook, whichever one I follow him on. The Jets were burning his jersey in the parking lot before the game. I think it was the Jets fans, and he put the caption, "What the fuck did I do?" Because they were all partying for the game, and they had it on a stick and they lit it on fire. It was kind of funny.
All right, so we'll begin with the Thursday night football game. The Cowboys beat the New York Giants. this was kind of it just was an uninteresting game. It felt like Dallas had control of the game the whole time. The Giants couldn't do anything but put up field goals. Malik Neighbors had a lot of catches, but not a whole lot of yards, and he didn't get into the end zone. He ended up leaving the game with a concussion. I expect he'll probably be back, having 10 days to get ready for the next team they're playing. But the Cowboys, who look strong in week 1, have not looked very good the last 3 weeks, I don't think.
No. I forgot what happened on Thursday night. I missed most of that game. But when I watched it, I did get it on in the second half, and it was pretty boring. I think I turned it on to something else, and then I passed out. I was kind of hoping for the Giants upset, but I figured, Dallas would get the dub here. I still think they have a lot of issues, and I'm kind of curious and see how this season plays out for them.
Saints muffed the ball a couple times. They gave this game away to Atlanta. I thought that the Saints were going to go in and beat Atlanta. They have not found Kyle Pitts this year. The running game has been okay, and Drake London and Darnell Mooney are doing all right, but no tight ends, no third receiver. Kirk Cousins is, running for his life back there from time to time. The defense is doing just enough to keep them in games. But the Saints were without Demario Davis, and so Willie Gay kind of took his place in this game, and then he got hurt. And so their defense was not playing at full strength. The offense turned the ball over twice. I just thought the Saints should have won this game. I thought they gave it to the Falcons.
Yeah. This game was actually a really exciting game to watch, actually. And yeah, I agree with that. The Saints could have had it, but the mistakes cost them at the end, and they fumbled the victory here.
Panthers played okay again for the second week in a row as Andy Dalton is the starting quarterback now for Carolina. But Cincinnati finally gets off the schneid. I think they have discovered that Zach Moss is not their starting running back, and Chase Brown is the more effective player. I think if you got a fantasy football league out there, pick up Chase Brown. He's going to be their number one runner going forward. Jamar Chase got in the end zone on a long touchdown pass. But they're playing, the Panthers, which, they looked really good against Vegas, and they looked okay against Cincinnati. But I don't think that this game is any indication that Cincinnati's back on track or anything. They just they beat a weaker team.
They did. And, once again, the Panthers are showing that it's not the team in a whole, it's the quarterback situation, because this is back-to-back weeks. They actually got to score like a real team does. And my question is, do you think we see Chase Young, or not Chase Young,
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Do you think we see Bryce Young at all this season if Dalton don't get hurt?
I'm going to go with yes. I'll say that having him sit behind Dalton and learn from a veteran is what he should have done from the beginning. I think he's shell-shocked right now. Obviously he's butthurt that he's not the starter, but I think that is the public persona that he's butthurt. Whereas, internally he's like, thank God I need a chance to figure out this offense, which is a new offense again this year. Okay. He needs a chance to learn from a veteran quarterback, show him how to go through the daily, doldrums of everything you got to do to be prepared, show him the small things that none of us see, the behind the scenes stuff, when it comes to audibles, check downs, line adjustments, all of the things that a starting quarterback needs to be able to do. And, it's all been just piled on top of him. And I think he was suffocating. I think that the coaches made the right decision here. And later on down the line, probably near the end of the year, when you got maybe 4 or 5 weeks left of the season, if they've got an opponent that they think that they've got a real chance of beating with him in the lineup, they'll turn it back over to him, because Andy Dalton is not their long-term answer. They had to put him in there because, Young was not performing. The fans are getting restless. The owner is getting restless. And the team was good. I think the team was going to rebel, and he was going to lose the team early if they didn't do something. And so, yeah, later in the year, he'll get another opportunity. But I think he's going to sit for quite a few games before that happens. Rams at the Bears. And you know what? Caleb Williams looks like he's getting better significantly every week. Finally didn't throw an interception in the game. Threw a touchdown pass. He's running around. The defense is still playing strong. They were playing at home against a team that's, frankly, a little roughed up when it comes to injuries. Of course, they're missing their top 2 receivers. The running game, people are really focusing on stopping the run because they know the passing game is kind of in shambles right now. And even though I took the Rams because I just thought Williams and the rest of the team was going to make, some mistakes. But, hey, the Bears finally found Devontae Swift, and he had a big game for him in this game. And hopefully they'll continue to get some use out of him. And if Caleb Williams continues to grow week by week, I still think, this team can make a wild card playoff game.
I agree with you, Ron. Ron says, fuck the Bears. Stafford disappointed me again. Agreed. The Rams, I don't know what happened in this game. I didn't get to see it. And I'm honestly shocked that the Rams lost. I thought this was a game that the Rams could get back on track with.
Offensive line woes.
Also, the Bears are doing all right, even though to me they haven't had good quarterback play until probably last week. Really, the week before wasn't too bad. At least he got 2 touchdowns. But I don't think the Bears make the playoffs, not with Minnesota being as good as they are right now and Green Bay. As long as they remain competitive and good, I think the Bears don't have a chance for a wild card. I just think Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay are too good of teams right now for them to contend with. But if injuries take over any of the other teams or any of the 3 teams, the Bears could sneak in there at the end of the season if everything goes down pat their way.
Yeah. Minnesota Vikings at one point had a 28-0 lead against the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love looked rusty as all get out. They couldn't run the football. Eventually their defense helped by getting a turnover. Special teams helped them. The Vikings held on to win this game. But in the first half, boy, I tell you, they just looked unstoppable. The play calling was superb. And, they just looked like they were running through warm butter against the Packers defense. I think the new defensive coordinator made a lot of adjustments in the second half. They forced them to punt. There was an interception by Darnold. Xavier McKinney has been unbelievable for them. I believe he's got an interception in all 4 games thus far. Of course, he came over this year from the New York Giants as a free agent in the offseason. And so, Green Bay, they lost this game, but if Love didn't re-aggravate or hurt himself in this game, and it looks like he made it through all right, I expect Green Bay to, put up a fight the rest of the season. Hopefully Love stays healthy. But the Vikings played tough, won the game, and now they get to go to London, this next week.
Yeah. This game cost my parlay. I had Aaron Jones to score a touchdown, and he didn't get it done, which pissed me off because they scored a lot of points. So, to me, they had plenty of chances to give him the ball. Just didn't go in my favor. But like you said, I give it Green Bay credit because, in the first half, it was all Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota got Jordan Addison back, and he had both a rushing and a receiving touchdown in the game. And so that was a nice return for them. It negated Jalen Naylor, who was a guy who was looking like he was going to be, pretty good for them, but he didn't get near the touches this week now that Addison was back.
Yeah. Other than that, good game for both. I'm still excited for the first weeks we meet up. It's gonna be a great game. I can say that.
Jacksonville was in this game all day long. They had the lead a couple different times against the Houston Texans, but in the end, they just couldn't convert on third down. They had some kicking issues, some special teams problems, but their defense played pretty well to hold the Texans to 24 points. That they had their opportunities. So despite being 0-4, I still think that Jacksonville is going to play spoiler against a lot of these teams. I think, there's no reason for them to panic. Even though they're 0-4, it's still very early in the season. And if they could get some things turned around, a couple years ago, they started 2-6 under Doug Peterson and managed to come back, make the playoffs, and win a wild card game. So, I'm not going to give up complete hope on Jacksonville. I still think they got some fight in them. They just got to get healthy. And then, the Texans did what I thought the Texans would do, which is win the game.
Oh, yeah. They did. Jacksonville, they scored 20 points, but they got to figure out what's going on because to me, this might have been their best game they've played this week. But even though the three weren't that good, they're going to definitely have to try to find themselves and find the issues.
Steelers turned the ball over early, and then they crawled back into the game. And I think they would have won the game if they hadn't knocked Anthony Richardson out. Joe Flacco comes in, and he is hitting open receivers all over the field. It set up the play-action pass. Jonathan Taylor started running all over the place. And, this is a game that the Steelers are going to regret losing, I think, when it comes close to playoff time. They should have won this game. But with Flacco at quarterback, the Colts just look like a better team.
Do you think Joe Flacco can come in here and steal the starting job from Richardson?
No. I think that he'll play until Richardson is capable of playing, which could be as early as this week. It's a hip injury. I'm assuming it's a hip pointer. But I'm just like, some of the other people that were on the talking heads on TV. He hurt his hip. He comes back in the game. What do? Call a quarterback draw immediately after that, so he takes another hit. That was stupid on the Colts' part, when it comes to the offensive coordinator and the head coach there. And so, it was almost like they wanted Flacco in the game. And when he came in, things were, started looking up for the Colts.
Maybe they did it for a secret motive. Never know. But hey, Colts got a W.
Denver Broncos defense played really well in wet and soggy East Rutherford, New Jersey. the Jets had a hard time running the football. They had a hard time, catching the football. Aaron Rodgers was kind of under siege all day. And kicking woes, missed field goals by the Jets 2 different times that would have won them the game. And, the defense played the way it was supposed to play for the Jets. Denver hung in there, and Denver got lucky because the Jets missed 2 field goals.
Yeah. The Jets are kind of what we expected them to be. They're kind of mediocre. They got a chance. I still find it comical that this team was predicted. They were trying to predict them to go to the Super Bowl, but the Jets have only had one good game out of this whole season. And to me, and other than that, they've not been that good on the offensive side of the ball. That defense has been saving them all year. But I think it's kind of comical.
Just going through some of the comments from Ron. The defense is saving the Bears. There's no doubt about that. Minnesota dominated this game. Yeah, but they tried to give it away in the second half. Malik Willis has more wins than Love. Yeah, well, the 2 best teams that they played this year, Love was the starting quarterback. So against the Eagles and the Vikings, they lost. And against the Colts and the Tennessee Titans, they won with Malik Willis. So give them a chance to play against somebody, other than, some of the tougher teams. I think Love will come back and do all right. Messy game, but Denver's been fighting in every game for a win. They have been. I think that Sean Payton has that team on the right direction. You've got a rookie quarterback, so there's going to be growing pains. It doesn't feel like they have a whole lot of receivers, and so they really got to lean on the running game and the defense. And I think that that's what they're doing, and I think that they could get better and better. Maybe they'll pick them up wide receiver at the deadline. Maybe they'll just ride out the season and try to get them some free agent and draft pick weapons this next year. But, it's going to take him some time. He's building a program. He has his quarterback now, and it's just a matter of time. I think it's going to be kind of like the Saints. He's going to have consistent winning team year after year. Yes, they're in a tough division with the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes isn't going to be there forever. Travis Kelce's not going to be there forever. Andy Reid isn't. And Sean Payton's a lot younger than Andy Reid. So, they could take the next couple of years to build their program, get it on solid footing, and then they'll be able to start challenging some of the more superior teams in the league. Looking here at this, Philadelphia Eagles are a real disappointment right now to me. They let the game get away from them against the Atlanta Falcons. Saquon Barkley, all he had to do was make a catch, but it shows you that this is a game of inches. Well, it was a lot more than a game of inches. Tampa Bay took out their frustrations in the loss to Denver last week on Philadelphia. They ran the ball at will. They threw it all over the field. The defense played great. Tampa Bay, for as much as I'd like to see the Saints win the South, and as much as everybody thinks the Falcons are going to win the South, Tampa Bay is in control of that division. They won it last year. They're inconsistent from time to time, but Baker Mayfield, he's him. And he's got the weapons around him that he needs, for them to make a playoff run, win the division, get in the playoffs, make some noise if they get the right matchups.
Yeah. The Eagles, they're still going to make the playoffs. And, they're still going to be a good team, probably win their division.
I don't think that's true. The way that they're playing, and especially the way that Washington is playing now, okay, and we talked about it, okay, if you've got Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota all making the playoffs, Philadelphia has to win their division to get into the playoffs. Okay? If they do not win their division, there's a chance they don't get in. Okay? And they haven't played Dallas yet, and I know they are both teams that are struggling. You know, Washington is looking really good, and they're almost like Chicago. They get better and better every week, okay? And Jaden Daniels is looking really good, and I'm not trying to say that, boy, they're going to win the division, but they have a commanding lead, in my opinion, right now in the division, okay? They beat the Giants. They're going to be playing the Eagles and the Cowboys soon. They're beating teams that we consider feisty and good in Arizona. They went into Cincinnati, beat Cincinnati. I'm not sure the Eagles want to give up too many more games here. They better start turning things around, or they will not be in the playoffs.
I'm going to retract that and agree with you. I totally overlooked Washington and realized that they've been playing really hard. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of crazy because I thought they should. They got a good team on paper. I thought the curse was gone. I guess not.
Yeah, it's so funny. Somebody said this, the other day, and I forget who it was. I wish I could give them the credit. But who would have thought before the season began, your division leaders at almost the quarter point of the season are the Washington Commanders, the Minnesota Vikings, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC. Crazy. And so Let's talk about Washington. Do you want to go ahead and talk about Washington a little bit?
Why not? Let's go.
So, I think the offensive line is a lot better than people are giving it credit for. I love watching Brian Robinson Jr. run the football. He runs it with authority. They run downhill. They pick up big chunks of yardage. And I think part of that is the threat of Jaden Daniels keeping the ball and running it himself. Running the option, the what do they call that? It's the run pass option, RPOs. I think that really opens up. Terry McLaurin is showing he is a star at wide receiver, and that's going to be good news for him because he's got a contract extension coming up real soon, and he's seeing all these guys getting $30-35 million at wide receiver. Yeah. And the defense is hanging in here under Dan Quinn, and they're getting turnovers, they're making plays, and when they get the ball to Washington is putting points on the board with it. They're not letting opportunities slip away. When they get turnovers, they score, and I think that is absolutely a winning formula. And so Arizona has, they beat down on the Rams, and I was like, hey, here comes Arizona. And they put up a little bit of a fight against Detroit, but not as good a fight as I thought they would. And, I just think that they're not as feisty as they were last year. And I don't know if it's just because maybe Kyler Murray doesn't have the weapons that he had, or there's just a different mindset because they actually have their starting quarterback this year. Whereas last year, they knew they were going to be running with a backup out of the gate, and it pushed everybody to play a little bit harder. But Arizona's been a disappointment so far this season. I thought that they would be a little bit better of a team.
Yeah, me too. They seem like they're going to start the season out hot, and Detroit came to town, and it just kind of went downhill. And I didn't see – it's kind of crazy that Washington beat them 42-14.
Yeah. The Patriots are just kind of floundering. You know, we knew they were going to have a down year. I thought they played really well the first 2 weeks of the season, where they, ended up going to overtime against Seattle, and they ended up, beating the Cincinnati Bengals, in the first game of the year. And, the running game, everybody knows that's all they're going to do is run the ball now. And so they're ganging up on the run. They've seen the tape, and they're not going to go on the road to San Francisco, who is a quality team, even though they are hurt and have people that are injured. They're not going to go on the road and put up much of a fight against the 49ers. I thought, the 49ers, even though the score is 30-13, I didn't think that the Patriots put up much of a fight against the 49ers at all.
I think Ron Gronkowski said this on ESPN, and he made a good point. When you put young quarterbacks in the first part of the season, and other issues brought up the offensive line for New England, he said you should not start Drake May because your offensive line is so bad.
He'll get killed.
He's going to get killed. You're going to kill the kid's confidence. And it's going to turn into another situation like Mac Jones, what you're seeing with Young in Carolina right now. So that's why I think Drake May don't probably play until the end of the season. That way, by that point, he's mature enough to know why he didn't play all those weeks prior, And that's when I think you see Drake May or anybody else.
Yeah. So then we have the game where Kansas City tried to give it to the Chargers, and I thought sure that the Chargers were going to play the Chiefs tougher this year, and it just seemed like it was kind of the same kind of game we always play against the Chargers. We turn the ball over, the Chargers get the lead, and then we have to fight back, and in the process we end up, losing the game. Or we end up losing one of our better players, in Rashee Rice. Carson Steele, with that fumble, opened the door for Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt didn't look back. He looked like he was a rookie again, playing for the Chiefs. He played well, ran for good yardage. I picked him up in all my fantasy leagues. I'm so happy. And so, but the Chargers, they look like they're playing hurt. Herbert is not healthy. He is not moving around like he normally would. You can tell that the foot and high ankle sprain, he had plantar fascia in training camp preseason. And I think it's the same leg he's got the high ankle sprain on now. And while if they play against teams that have difficulty stopping the run, the Chargers are going to be fine because they can lead on Dobbins and Edwards, but the Chiefs stop the run, okay? Chiefs play really good defense. This is the 28th straight game, if I'm correct. I think it's 28. Maybe it's 24. Let me rephrase that. I think it's 24. This is the 24th straight game that the Kansas City Chiefs have held their opponents to under 25 points. That's what it is. Okay. And so their defense is playing well. They got them back in it. Chargers led 10-0. Chiefs scored the only other points the rest of the day, and they did it on the road. They got a big test coming up here on Monday night against a team I think that matches up against them very well in the Saints. But they could go into their Week 6 bye undefeated if they can win on Monday Night Football.
Ron says, and I want to say my piece to this. Ron thinks losing Rice is going to hurt them more than people think. Kels has been borderline bad compared to past years. Maybe he's just too much into Taylor Swift, but something is wrong there, in my opinion. Now,
okay.
I'm not.
Go ahead. I'm
not buying all those rumors. Really think that something's wrong. I just think that, Kelsey's been keyed on a little bit harder this year than, years prior. Also, but I guess I could play into this a little bit. I was reading an article that I thought was kind of interesting, but it appears that Brittany Holmes unfollowed Taylor Swift due to politic views. I do know that
has nothing to do with football.
Well, that's what you think, David. But Kelsey and Mahomes did a lot of things and hung out a lot with family together off the field. So there could be bullshit drama between the girls going on, causing fiction, but I'm not buying into that. I think you're going to see Kelsey get more involved in the weeks coming up. And then if
he had his best game of the season. He just had his best game of the season. And that's because they needed him to. Okay. The reason that Travis Kelce has not been getting a lot of passes thrown his way is because he has been double covered and they're using him as a decoy for Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and Justin Watson. Okay. With Watson, with Rice now out, okay, Kelce always plays very good against the Chargers, even when they have Derwin James, and Derwin James was suspended for the game for targeting. He built up enough hits, head-to-head contacts that they suspended him for one game, which everybody will be like, oh well, that's the league's looking out for the Chiefs again. Whatever, who gives a shit? Okay, what I'm telling you is that Kelce is just fine. Off the field issues are exactly what those are. Off the field. Okay. You can expect to see in the game coming up, and we'll talk about it here in a minute, a large dose of Kareem Hunt running the football instead of Isaiah Pacheco. And you can expect Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce to get all the receptions unless they got some bombs or some, end arounds or speed action plays for Xavier Worthy in the game against New Orleans. Okay. People are just looking to bash the Chiefs because they're the champs. Everybody wants them to lose. I understand. It was the same way when New England was the champions. It was the same way when the Cowboys were the champions, when the 49ers were the champions. When you win a lot, you look for anything to make it look like, you can reasonably justify why things are going wrong, and yet they're still 4-0.
Yeah. No, like I said, I don't buy into that. For some reason, if Kelce stays ghost for the next few weeks coming up, then maybe I'll believe that there's real off-the-field drama and they're beefing with each other in the locker room. But until I see something to actually back up that article, I don't believe shit either. I'm on your side.
Browns Raiders is an indication of two bad teams just flailing at each other. Of course, we talked about Devontae Adams has requested a trade. He would rather be traded than stick it out. The Browns, I thought Deshaun Watson, in the limited stuff that I watched, he played well because he took off and tried to run and pick up some yards. Okay,
I got a question. Did you watch this game?
He cannot throw the ball, with accuracy to his players, and the defense is not as good. I think Myles Garrett is injured. He did not play, very much if he played at all, because I didn't see any highlights of him. Max Crosby didn't play for the Raiders, and so with Adams out, Max Crosby out. The Raiders, they put up 20 points and managed to win at home against a team that has not played well at all this year in the Browns. And so I don't really have much else to say about that game.
The Browns literally paid all that money to be the last place team at this point because their multi-million-dollar quarterback that they gave all this money to is absolutely playing like a trash can. And other than that, real quick, did you watch that full game? I seen a clip between Deshaun Watson and it looked like Winston fighting on the sideline. I'm just curious if you caught that.
I didn't see that. I was busy watching the other games.
Okay, there was a clip surfing around social media on Facebook, and Winston was arguing with somebody. They actually had to pull him back because he was trying to get in the person's face. I didn't really get to hear it, who it was about, but I'm pretty sure it was Watson because you could see him, but you just couldn't see a number or his face on the angle he was standing. So I was just kind of curious if you might have caught that.
Well, Watson's going to get a couple more weeks starting at quarterback, and if they don't get a victory in the next couple of weeks, Winston's going to be the starter. Because, they're not going to let the whole season slip away because Deshaun Watson isn't playing very well. They brought Winston in for a reason, and so there's that. But, just like I said, the Buffalo Bills riding high because they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They think they're world beaters, and they go into Baltimore, and Baltimore figured out their game in Dallas, okay? They figured out their game in Dallas, and they took it home and ran it down the throat of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And if this is a playoff preview, the Bills got a lot of work to do before they face Baltimore again. I think Baltimore has finally found what it is that they needed to do. They've stopped trying to run Derrick Henry in the shotgun. They are using the under center game to set up the play action passing to their two tight ends. They're getting the ball down the field to some other players. They didn't even get the ball to Zay Flowers that much this week.
Yeah.
And he's the big play receiver.
No,
but their defense dominated, and the running game was dominant. Baltimore is dangerous going forward.
I'm still not buying the Baltimore hype like that because to me, this team's set up to choke. If you can stop the run and make them not be able to run the ball, you're going to win. You're going to beat Baltimore more times than you'll lose. That's what I seen out of this game. And yeah, I guess you could say it's a reality check for Buffalo, but
reality check.
But I also feel like it was kind of more like a reality check for Baltimore, because Baltimore is supposed to be one of the top teams in the AFC. They're trying to compete with KC. They already got 2 losses. KC's 4-0, and the first 2 weeks they didn't look that good. So I think this is more of a reality check in Baltimore's eyes. Like, we got to come out here and win this damn game because we can't afford to lose any more games, at least right now. You would think they would want to try to build a lead in the division. I mean, Cincinnati right now ain't going to get the division. I mean, me and you, we see the problems. Cincinnati hasn't looked good, but technically right now, if I'm not mistaken, Cincinnati just got their first dub, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So think about it. Baltimore don't come out and play. They go 1-3. Guess who they're tied with? Cincy. They had to win that game. But I still think Buffalo is the best team in their division right now.
Oh, yeah, I still think they are too, because when you look at the Dolphins, not having Tua, they brought in Huntley, okay, and while I think he can be serviceable, I don't think he's been there long enough. They don't have a thick enough playbook for him. The defense is not playing well, and they're basically trash. They could not run the football. That Mostert has been out all season, okay, since game number 1 with a chest injury. So they turned it over to Devin Achane, okay? He can't do nothing. So they bring in Jalen Wright, the rookie, and he can't do nothing, okay? They tried a few different ways to get the ball to Tyreek Hill, and to Jalen Waddle. The first play out of the gate was like a 14-yard pass to Waddle, looked great. And I'm like, here we go. They got a legitimate quarterback back there this week. And then penalties, turnovers, they threw the ball to Tyreek Hill. It was a behind the line pass. Hill doesn't even chase after it and make sure that it's not a turnover. The other team picks it right up, no problem. Tennessee is not that good a team. They get their first win against the Dolphins on the road on a Monday night doubleheader where the Dolphins were just trash. Okay? Yeah. They played terrible, and unless they get their quarterback situation ironed out to where the threat of the pass opens up their running game, Dolphins are in big trouble over the next couple of weeks till they can get Tua back. They need Mostert back. They need Huntley to learn the offense quicker. They need to get some more short, quick passing game going. Screens and draws, and don't try to get fucking cute and turn the ball over doing stupid shit, and they'll have an opportunity. But, they gave this game to Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee, did not look all that good. In fact, they looked so much better when they brought in Mason Rudolph. I had a friend named Tammy Hanshaw, is a huge Tennessee Titan fan. Levis goes out of the game, and she's on Facebook like, leave Mason Rudolph in. Don't let Levis go back in, because she has no faith in him. He's a turnover machine. And, and then, of course, we talked about everything that Detroit did and how great they looked against Seattle. Seattle ended up putting up a pretty good fight. But Detroit was better than them this year for the first time in a couple of years.
And it works out real good because Detroit gets the bye. Frank Ragnow was not missed, thank God. I mean, of course, we missed him. I don't mean it like that. But, I was nervous a little bit. But our second-year guard that took over Glasgow's spot so he could move over and play center. Dude, both of those two came in and played a hell of a fucking game for us last night. And it's really kind of awesome because it sucks to have a bye this early, but for this team, it works out perfect for us. Frank can rest. A couple of our other banged-up players can rest. And we should be looking great when we come back to Dallas to get our revenge.
And you get kind of a mini bye after the Thursday night game anyway, when you play the during Thanksgiving. So you guys will have a little bit of more time to rest up later on in the year. It's kind of a third and a third and a third. So maybe it'll be good for you. Hopefully it will. But
I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with myself this weekend, but we'll find something.
All right, so let's take a look at the week 5 slate of games. Let me get it all up here.
Week 5 slate. Missing the best team of
the week
all.
5 slate of games. Yeah.
The week slate.
It's a week slate? No, I don't think so.
It's a week slate because the lines are not on that card.
Oh, what the fuck ever.
Hey, Ron said we didn't talk enough about Detroit. How does everybody else feel? Did we talk enough about Detroit?
Hell, we started the show talking about it for the first 15 minutes.
Ron says he's waking up early and watching the Jets in Minnesota early Sunday morning. It would be pretty funny if Aaron Rodgers ruins that perfect record of theirs.
Nah. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. Anything can happen. You go with the Thursday night game. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the Atlanta Falcons. I just think that unless Tampa shows up like they did against Denver, they have played everybody else really tough. They're a familiar opponent, when it comes to being in the division. And I think that overall, the more solid team is Tampa Bay.
Yeah. But I will say this. This is Kirk Cousins. I mean, to me, Kirk Cousins has already had some big games this year to prove he's worth that money. But
it's
to me, this one's the biggest. Because guess what? 3-1. They're 2-2. This is a division game. If you're worth the money, Kurt, and Atlanta's supposed to be a real contender, you better show up Thursday.
I think the Jets' defense will give Minnesota some fits. But I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be under siege with the Brian Flores defense. I think that overall the better team at this point of the year is the Minnesota Vikings. I know that they're playing in London, and so, anything can kind of happen because it's a neutral site. But I really think that Minnesota's the better team of the two, and I expect them to go to 5-0. No comment?
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I think Minnesota should win this game. I'm rooting for the Jets, but I don't have no faith in the Jets because I got to root for division purposes here for the Jets.
You're such a
But
wimp.
I think Minnesota takes the dub here.
I think that Chicago continues to build on what they're doing. They're playing in Chicago against Carolina. We know Carolina is not that good a team, and I think that the defense alone for Chicago is going to get to Andy Dalton. I think if they continue to run Devontae Swift, that, if Caleb Williams doesn't turn the ball over, Chicago should win this game easily.
Yeah, this game is going to be. I want to pay attention to this one. If I'm home on Sunday, I do want to watch this game. I'm kind of curious if Andy Dalton can come in Chicago and steal the dub over here.
I think this is another one that it feels like it should be an easy game in favor of Washington Commanders, as long as they don't read their press clippings. As long as they continue to work hard, play tough, Washington should win this game because I just don't have any faith that Cleveland is going to get anything turned around. Now, I have been told that there's a chance that they're going to get Nick Chubb off the PUP list, but that doesn't mean that he's going to play a whole hell of a lot in this game.
Practice window's opening.
Yeah. So he might get a chance to come back to the team, which could only help them. They need all the help they can get. But
well, damn it, I need Chubb.
Yeah.
He needs to get off my IR because Miami's going belly up for me right now and really fucking me in fantasy. But Washington wins this game because Cleveland, $250 million trash can, comes in and sucks again.
I got the New England Patriots over a weak Miami Dolphin team. New England always gives Miami fits. Both these teams give each other fits, and I think that, New England playing at home, this is a prime opportunity here with the way that Miami has played the last couple of weeks, trying to break in a new quarterback, not being able to run the football. I expect we'll see a couple of maybe some trick plays. They'll do some things that they have to in order to try and stay with New England. But I think New England will run the ball with Ramondre Stevenson. They'll be able to make a few plays here and there. Low-scoring affair, 20-10 New England.
I agree with that. I'm going to ride with New England until Mike McDaniel shows up. Now, I seen a post, and I'm starting to agree with it, that, it feels like Mike McDaniel just loves being a head coach. But there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, it seems like he's a little worried about how he looks and his style more than he's worried about this team going on. I don't know what's going on in Miami. I like the guy as a coach, but something's just not there.
You care way too much about off-the-field stuff instead of on the field.
No,
on the field, Joe Flacco may start for Indianapolis, which will make this game a headache for Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, the Colts are a headache for Jacksonville all the time. But Jacksonville needs a win badly, and I think they get it this time against the Colts, who are probably riding high after a win against Pittsburgh.
I think Jacksonville should win this game, but it's hard for me to pick here. I think I'm going to go with Jacksonville, but I won't be surprised if the Colts sneak one out of here.
Buffalo, who gets embarrassed after they played so well on, the primetime game against Jacksonville. Then they get embarrassed in the primetime game against Baltimore. So now it's their turn to come back and put a dent in another team that's looking favorable. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills over the Houston Texans.
I'm going to go with the Bills too. I feel like they're going to make a statement.
Well, I think they need to after the way they played last time. This one is going to be a fun one, okay? Because I think that Cincinnati's got a lot to prove. Baltimore can put a nail in the coffin of Cincinnati early in the season if they can lay the smack down here on Cincinnati. I think Baltimore goes into Cincinnati, does what they got to do. Cincinnati cannot stop the running game. I've seen how Washington ran through them, a couple weeks ago, and King Henry's coming to town. I'll take the Ravens over the Bengals.
I got the Ravens too, just because. Here's one thing. When I said what I said, I meant it about the Ravens. I've been pretty adamant since the offseason. If you can stop them from running the ball, you can easily win the games against Baltimore. If you can stop Lamar Jackson and Henry, which is very hard to do, I know, but it's doable, and to a certain extent. But I don't buy anything coming out of Cincinnati because even the game when they finally won last week, they still didn't look good. Baltimore takes this unless Cincinnati's figured out all their problems. So I'm riding with Baltimore.
All right. Then we got the Raiders and the Broncos. And I got to be honest, if they don't have Max Crosby again, if they don't have Devontae Adams because they're still injured or hurt or whatever the deal is, I think this is an easy call to go for Denver. And even with those players, I'm tempted to take Denver. So I just think the smart play is to take Denver here.
I'm taking Denver because I don't know where – I just don't trust Oakland or Raiders. And I don't trust where that locker room is right now.
Here's a chance for Arizona to stake their claim that they're not as bad as we think they have been the last couple weeks. They got to go into San Francisco, Santa Clara, and they need to beat the 49ers. But I don't think they're going to. I just think the 49ers are too good a team. I'll take the Niners.
I'm taking the Niners as well. But
Giants.
Say this.
What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say is it seems like the Cardinals play their division really hard, so who knows? But I'm still going to ride with San Francisco.
Well, I don't know if they're getting any of their players back. I know they're not getting Christian McCaffrey back, and it sure sounds like that he's going to be out for quite a while. And, for me, I just think that if they have all the other pieces of the puzzle, San Francisco could still win this entire thing this year, even without Christian McCaffrey. Jordan Mason has been playing really well, and they've had a couple of slip-ups here and there, but, San Francisco should win this game. Seattle Seahawks host the New York Giants. I think about the way the Giants have played, and it's like they're right on the cusp of actually being a good team, and they just can't get over the hump. And they played so poorly offensively against the Cowboys, and I just saw the way Seattle played against Detroit. I have to take Seattle in this game.
I'm going to take Seattle in this game because I'm a big fan. Well, not a big fan, but I like a good comeback story. I've said it multiple times on our show. Geno Smith is always holds a little small part of me, just because I think he really did have a shit end of the stick when he got to the league. He went to the Jets, terrible franchise at that point in time. I still think they're terrible. Gets his jaw broke. He finally gets to become a starter. And even though they lost last night, even though I think for the most part of that game, the offense did get dominated the whole first half. But you seen the heart in him as a starter. I haven't seen that level play out of Daniel Jones. I don't think ever. So I'm right with Seattle. Because Geno knows. Because if I'm not mistaken, San Francisco or the Seahawks, they drafted a rookie quarterback, didn't they?
No. They traded for Sam Howell. He's the backup.
Okay. So he knows after the disappointing last year that his job's not in jeopardy, but it can be. And he's playing to keep it there,
Green Bay Packers at the Los Angeles Rams. And, I got to be honest with you, the Rams have not looked good. They're still hurt, at the wide receiver spots. I know they're playing at home, but, Green Bay got their quarterback back last week. I think they've ironed out probably all of the rust this last week when he played against Minnesota. I expect that the Packers will be able to use the running game to set up the play action passing. All of the wide receivers that they got for Green Bay is not going to be able to be held back by the Rams defense. I'll take the Packers on the road.
I got the Packers in this one.
And then I got the Dallas Cowboys over the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. And the reason why is because I think that after the way that they lost to Baltimore, and then after the way that they had, I know that there was a short week when they played the Giants this last week. Okay. They had to go on the road, and so they were wore out. They're tired. They've had 10 days to get ready for this game. Okay. Pittsburgh's coming off a loss against Indianapolis. I think that Dallas is going to find their offense against the Steelers. They will set up some plays that will work against their defense, and their defense will play better against Pittsburgh because, the Steelers do not have a very good offense, to be honest. And so I just think that Dallas is going to get the win here on Sunday Night Football.
Dallas should be able to beat the Steelers. Just because, let me say this. I'm not talking shit on Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I think, has done a pretty damn job. I think even better than everybody expected to lead them to 3-1.
Yeah.
I just don't know if the quarterback play is good enough to keep up to what Dallas should be able to do on offense. But then again, I might agree with Ron here and ride with Pittsburgh because that defense is very good. TJ Watt is a freaking menace. And can Prescott play?
All right, so here's the one thing I'll say before we move on to the final game, and that is if the Steelers lose badly, okay, this will be the last game that Justin Fields starts at quarterback, and they'll say Russell Wilson is healthy, and he'll start next week for Pittsburgh.
I agree with that.
I think they've given opportunity here for Justin Fields to show who he is. They should not have lost the game this last week, and if it gets ugly against Dallas, they're going to give Russ a chance to come in and see what he can do. I think he has technically been fine probably for a couple of weeks, but because they wanted Fields to go ahead and continue to be the starter, they continued to list Russell Wilson as, still recovering or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, this right here is going to be a make or break it game, I think, for Justin Fields going forward.
And Ron points this out. DeMarcus Lawrence is out for 4 weeks, and Michael Parsons is hurting as well. So that's
and they may benefit Justin Fields. He may take off and run, and that might be part of some designed runs that they have prepared for Dallas, knowing that their best pass rushers are out of the game.
I'm rooting for the Steelers here, but I do know who the better team on paper on both well-rounded side, because I don't think Dallas' defense is better than the Steelers, but I know the offense technically on paper is better. I'm rooting for the Steelers, but Dallas got a good chance to win this game.
Monday Night Football, the New Orleans Saints take on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs playing at home, first time in a couple of weeks. We know they lost Rashee Rice. Just as I said before, I think you're going to see Juju Smith-Schuster take over there at that position. We saw Kareem Hunt play really well, and so he's probably going to be the starting running back going forward. And when you get that crowd rocking in Arrowhead, that only can help the defense, and this defense is made to play against teams like, the New Orleans Saints, who want to throw the ball around the field. And so I think that it would be in the Saints' best interest to lean on the running game, lean on screens and draws, try and keep Chris Jones and them pass rushers out of the backfield. If you get in range to make some points, kick the field goal. Don't screw around and try to pick up a 4th and 3 because you're inside the 10, against Kansas City, or it'll come back to bite you. You got to get points when you can, because the Chiefs' offense has not been great. And, one little field goal here and there could be all the difference that it takes to knock them off. But I'm taking Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. I think it'll be a fun game because, I've been watching the Saints and I like the Saints. But, I think it'll be a fun game. But you got to go with Kansas City here.
I'm rocking with KC, but obviously I'm going to root for the Saints for upset. But KC should be 5-0 after Monday.
All right, there you go. That is the 4th and Goal Sports Podcast for this Tuesday, October the 1st. Want to thank everybody for joining us, commenting along the way, Ron and others. And Chris, thanks for hosting the show as always.
You're welcome, buddy.
Be sure you guys like and subscribe to all of our different, social media outlets on NFL Renegades, 4th and Goal Sports. Like this page. Like the pod. Like it on YouTube, Twitch. I forget the name of the one that starts with an S that we just got on.
Spotify. And actually, I made it real easy for everybody who sees this show on Facebook. The link is actually in the title at the bottom. Click that link, click follow. Every day, midnight on Wednesday at 12 a.m., the show will be live. Of course, I don't expect you to be listening to us at 12 a.m. unless you guys work nights, and that's when you have to listen to us. But it's there at 12 a.m., so if you want to listen to us at work the next day or whenever, it's going to be there 12 a.m. tonight. So once it hits 12 a.m., this episode that we recorded just now will be live going forward. So if you want to follow our show and keep up to date, but sometimes try to make it to the live part of it, click and follow us on Spotify. We'll appreciate it.
Good night, Chris. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Dave. Good night, everybody. Thank you again for following us. If you liked us, follow us on Facebook, Spotify. You know where to catch us. Until next week, guys. Have a good one.